Hello, everybody, and welcome to this Tuesday, slightly unexpected and a little unscheduled TV slot. I did think I was going to have 3 days off so I could get on and do some other work, but we've had such a lot of calls from everybody for this to continue. And then, of course, as many of you will know, we then had a bit of a meltdown this morning when the first of our Inspire Tour sessions came on. Everybody going on at the same time, which would normally have been great, but we just underestimated how much of a surge in power that would take. So the system overloaded. Yeah, we apologize for that. If any of you were unable to log on, I think we got about 500 of you on, but then everybody else was thrown off. So I do apologize for that. And obviously, as it's a recorded session, and as you've purchased all 6 units of this, plus all other bits and extras that we've thrown in, it's still going to be available to you, but obviously not in the original early start order of 12 o'clock. But I'm hoping you will now look at that just a bit more in your leisure. And I understand that what we've also done is we are making available from tonight the other 4. So actually, if you want to cram it, a bit like a box set on Netflix, you can do so. So you can get through Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays by the end of today, just about, if you're really clever and up for it. So that will be there. We were not going to do the TV program because I thought you'd have had enough by now, but we've been asked by so many people to continue and just come on anyway because you want a chance to ask all sorts of questions. Prompted this morning by a number of people, including Jamal Khan. Hi, Jamal. Hope you're now listening to this. Jamal's actually from Bracknell, but I just noticed from your record, Jamal, you are quite an ardent ICB fan here. You've been to Berkshire, Surrey, and Oxfordshire branch meetings. You've been to Summit in 14 and 18, and you are one of our Inspire people as well. So I'm obviously, you've been inspired in the past, and I hope you enjoyed today, and I hope you're now listening. So hello, and good to have you with us. It's a slightly different format to normal because most of you will have booked through the link that was sent to you along with your registration to sit for the Inspire Tour. So I'm not quite sure how many people are on at the moment. I can't quite tell, but we'll see how the questions go. And I see I've got some questions on already. So, oh, Julia, by the way, I still haven't received an email with the link and password to access the recordings of the Inspire Tour webinars. Presumably, it will be sent out at some point today. Julia, you have Amy online at the same time. She will make a note of that. But can you just send us a bit more information, because we've got a lot of Julias, and just make sure we get that right. And Andy, the AML presentation crashed. Yes, that was the one that went down, actually, Andy. I'm sorry about that. I've been saying sorry all day for this. And I did mention earlier, I've got my 2 friends here behind me today. They're here just in case any of you get really nasty, and they're my supporters. So yeah, it was a shame. Yeah, it didn't do quite what it said on the tin, I'm afraid. It was supposed to be open access for everybody. I think about 500 of you managed to get on, and then the rest of you just fell over the edge somewhere. So I'm really sorry for that. The good news, as we said before, is that it's totally your content now. I think you've got a month during which you can go back and look at it. It might have thrown your day, for which I'm really sorry. But it's there. It's for you. You didn't say anything about the ethics, so the report that we're getting at the moment is the ethics has gone down really well. We had 1,000 clicks within the first 20 seconds, so that's brilliant. Mark Lee is quite an established speaker on the accounting circuit, and for ages he's been wanting to talk direct to bookkeepers as well. We've never taken him up on the offer before. I haven't actually seen the presentation myself because I was going to watch it live, but then because everything else was going on, I missed that. So I'm going to catch up with it later. But I understand from people that it was really interesting, quite intense. And he did ask for all sorts of comments from our members that we'd already taken over the years, anything that we could give to him so that he could know exactly what type of question our members asked. So hopefully it was useful. Yes. It's Julia Banks. I won't read out the number straight away because it's you never know. Somebody might be there trying to pretend to be you in the future. But I will email the number through and make sure that you are sent the link. We're still back onto the furlough, I see here. Well, obviously, I'm not the technical advisor. We weren't expecting to do any technical advice today, but I'll see what I can do. A general furlough question, please. When somebody comes back off furlough, do they have to sign another letter saying back on original terms of employment? Terry, as far as I'm aware, furlough is just a sort of, well, what can you call it? It's a state which exists only for the length of the furlough. They don't need to sign a new contract on the original. It can be taken as read. But to just dot all the I's and cross the T's, yeah, that might not be a bad idea. I haven't thought of it before. Perhaps you just get them to say, yes, I have now returned to work. Or better still, why doesn't the employer say, you have now returned to work and your contract reverts to what it was before you were furloughed? I think that might be useful. What have we got here? Subaru and Susan, hi. That's technology for you, Gary. At least you tried something new. Next time it will be amazing. So I'm hoping it's going to be amazing for the rest of this week. I really do. So thank you for your understanding. We do try and do things very quickly here with very little preparation. So we came up with the idea of bringing it forward into April because people were saying they've got a little bit of extra time at the moment. Some of you, only some of you. So we did try it, but yeah, it was good. So I'm hoping you get something from it. Anybody there that's got any questions on money laundering and ethics? Obviously, it's one of the things I do talk about quite often at Inspire, so I will do my best to answer your questions. And if I can't, then we've got a few people online that I can talk to. Steve is busy trying to sort out our friends at Opbas at the moment. They're preparing for another virtual visit to make sure we're doing our job properly. That's coming up shortly. So he's going to get grilled by about 3 of those people. And so he's busy doing that at the moment. So I can't get him online. Well, that's the excuse he uses. I think it's because he's still in his pajamas, but we'll wait and see. So I've got questions there. Let's have a look at the top. Yeah, that's great. So, what's up there? Sorry to keep going up my screen there. And David Bentley. When I eventually managed to log on to Inspire, so a message came up on my laptop saying it didn't support that type of video recording. So I'm not quite sure what that means. I'll get the techniques to have a look at that for you. Quite a lot of people coming on now, several anonymous saying, actually, it took a while, but it was brilliant. Really enjoyed it. So that's going really well. Thank you for that, Mark. Lauren there, thank you for that. Jesse. I don't know if that's Jesse or Jess. Jesse. Yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you very much for that. You all seem to have been very understanding, which is very good of you, because it can be very frustrating when I've been building it up for so long that this was all going to kick off at 12 and then it didn't. So I really do apologize for that. But it was, I suppose it wasn't technically beyond our control. It was beyond my understanding. So I'm not quite sure how it all happened, but it is doing now. So Kevin Jarvis said, I sent an email to ICB. Could you please get a response to me? Yes, Kevin, I'll have a look at that and see what that was. I'll look on your record. Is it worth downloading the presentations by pressing on the 3 dots at the right of the bottom panel? Then can be watched with no issues, says Lucy Brown. Hi, Lucy. I have to defer to Amy on that one. I have no idea what you mean by the 3 dots at the right of the bottom panel. Amy's looking a bit mixed as well, really. I'm not sure about that.
I'm
Amy?
a bit miffed by that one, yeah. Certainly, if you have the power to download it, I would say go ahead and download it. I must admit, I didn't realise you could do that. And that potentially might help David Bentley, that was having a problem with viewing them.
Well, I am joined actually off screen today by Mrs. C, who is the power of all knowledge, knows everything and all the rest of it. She just reminded, of course, David Bentley is the man that did the mammoth swim. I think that was the first news article we ever carried about David. So hi, David.
Oh,
Not sure if
wow.
you're still swimming. Perhaps you want to let us know whether you're still swimming in these lockdown times, or whether you're it's just the bath nowadays, not the. It was Coniston water, wasn't it? So I'm not sure whether you're allowed in Coniston at the moment. But anyway, so well done for you. GMO saying it crashed, but yeah, Kevin Jarvis. Kevin Jarvis, thank you. Inspirator, don't worry, it's not your fault. These things happen. Yeah, thank you, Kevin. It's nice to have your understanding. I'm annoyed by it, so I'm sure you are. But anyway, we will see what we can do. In case you're not coming through to another email. Julia, yes, okay, Julia, yeah, email customer service, please, if you would, with any queries, because nobody else will see it on here, but I obviously can't use your email address, but we will pick it up afterwards. Again, Deborah Hinson saying that it said it doesn't accept the video format. What was the video format, Amy? What was all that about? What does that mean?
It ought to just be MP4s, which is pretty standard.
Is it? Okay.
But I can certainly have a look. I mean, actually, if anybody gets an error message, if you could copy and paste that into an email
and send it to you,
us, that would be super helpful.
Customer service or you?
Then I can badger the tech team. You know, can we even send it straight to the tech team? No. You can send that to me. So I'm Amy with an I, AMI.Copeland with an E in the middle, COPE land, at bookkeepers.org.uk. So yeah, if you've got any, because certainly you should be able to view the videos, but what I can probably do is find out whether that's an issue on our side, whether it's a browser thing. I would always suggest Chrome apparently seems to be the easiest one, but then again, it might not be a browser. So
it might have on everybody now. Lucy Brown says you can download and watch. Yes, Lucy, that was the whole idea of Inspire. Thank you for that. We realised that not everybody would be available at the same time, same day, so we had to put it into a set format to get it out there. But certainly everybody can download it. They get the content for a month. Is that right, Amy? Yeah, yes. For a month. So you can either download it for the first time during that month, or you can watch it multiple times. As I say, it's a bit like a box set, and that's coming out. When will the rest of the sessions be online?
So I have just this second received the final presentation of the six. So that's exciting. So there's nothing stopping me apart from I need more bandwidth to make sure that.
All right. So that'll be later today.
What I will do is I'll send an email out, but I might even just stagger the emails.
Just so that it works.
So that we don't have everyone doing it at the same time. But I will let everybody know by email when they're available. But I would anticipate they'll all be ready to go from 9 a.m. tomorrow. So you can watch Paula VC Smith's Marketing Your Practice one if you want to, first thing in the morning. Or you can watch the cash flow one with Peter Stewart. Pick and choose. They're all fabulous, as far as I can see.
And Stu Raisin says, yes, I downloaded the video and it was much easier to watch. So that's great. That's nice to know that's happening. And thank you, Sue, for coming on and spending a bit of time with us here at ICB TV with me and the bears behind. You remember that these bears behind us, I've mentioned this before, but I'll mention it now in case you missed it, but they were called Boris because Boris, when he was mayor, wrote us a very nice note saying wonderful things about the work of ICB bookkeepers and the big part we play. And actually, if ever you've been to our office, you will know that we've got his statement on our wall, which was really great because I met him first when he was my local MP, and he was a pretty good MP. Then he became mayor, and lo and behold, he's now something called Prime Minister. And thankfully, he's pulled through recently, and to have him back, so that's good. So who knows, if you're watching this, Boris, you probably aren't, but if you are watching this, when are you coming to Summit? That's what we want to know. I'll pester him now and see if he can come and make good his comments about bookkeepers by really coming and supporting us. Because we're not frontline stuff, but actually I think bookkeepers deserve a clap as well, because we've been there for our clients. We've had to look after our kids, our families, our own businesses, and still get on and look after everybody else and keep them afloat and keep them furloughed and keep them paid. And I understand from the comments yesterday, the money is starting to flow through now. So hopefully if you're claiming it, but certainly some of your clients will now be getting a bit of a breathing space, and I'm hoping that continues. Heather Palmer says, can you send me the link too, please, for the Inspire Tour? And I've got her membership number there, so I will pass that to she who shall be obeyed, who's sitting next to me. Right.
Can you hear me? So no. Okay, so it's always like trouble trying to find the mic button. I was just going to say that the email with the link to the Inspire Tour, which will contain your password, will be coming from no-reply@rogo.email. ROGO is how you spell Rogo. So that is the same. It's the same platform that we use for our exams. But it's also a sort of learning management system, so it should really be able to handle us, I think. So if you can't find the email, it may well be in your junk. Just look for Rogo, ROGO. But failing that, I can definitely resend the emails from member services as well, if you just let me know.
Great. Well, that was Heather Palmer, and I'll send you a note through on that.
Heather Palmer. Okay.
Jackie Ishwood says, yes, got the ethics video, which was good, thank you. However, I got the same message, this video film not supported in AML. I will try again tomorrow. So it appears that only that's the AML then didn't quite work. Now that's strange. They're the same format, aren't they?
It was slightly different. It was slightly different, but it should have been an MP4 and it's up there. It's very long as well. The AML is 1 hour and 7 minutes. There's a great deal to say, apparently.
Okay, well, yeah.
So I don't know if it's the length of it. I know that people have seen it, though, is the only thing. So I will.
Yeah,
I'll do some
got some comments here, yeah.
I happen to live with a film editor, so we can fix it for you.
Faye says, good to hear the tour went ahead. I got the link at 12:30, but didn't try, as I thought I'd missed the start. Better to watch at leisure. Absolutely, Faye. Cup of coffee, feet up, and watch it there. Or if you get the chance to put your feet up, that is. I know for most of you that we talk to, the children are running around your feet and everything, and dogs and cats and husbands and wives and various other things. Paula B.C. Smith says, hiya, Paula. What a great motivational way to start your morning. Absolutely. It's what we try to do. We're here, you know. Somebody called me Mr. Motivator. Thankfully, I look nothing like the real Mr. Motivator, but I'm very pleased to be told that we're helping to motivate you as ICB. It's one of the things we're here for, but we are here to support you. So my understanding was that these presentations would involve a Q&A, which Garry has just mentioned too. If this is the case, how will Q&As work? Well, the Q&A is here now, if you like. It has to be live to do the Q&A because we needed to record the others so that we made sure we got everything in and people could hang on to it for a month. So any questions that you have, you can put to me, but also any questions that you put on screen now that I can't answer, or even if I do answer, they will be passed on and there will be a Q&A session on the database. Amy, have you allocated a spot for that yet, or is that to come, the hub? You'll have an Inspire hub in some way, will you? You're not looking sure about that.
Not entirely sure we are going to have an Inspire hub, actually.
Okay, well, in that case, we'll answer the questions for you if you come through live. As I say, unfortunately, couldn't get Steve on today or anybody. Most of the money laundering things is something that I've at least got a good idea about, and I'm party to all of that stuff. As way back in 2002, I'm the one that started lobbying to get us involved, which all happened in 2007, obviously. So it takes a long while to get these things sorted, but it's been a major move for us. I know some of you are cursing the fact that you have to do it, but it's so important, and it's really given us a huge amount of credibility within the profession. So good for that. And right, hold on a second. I have had 2 emails from Rogo with different passwords, said Darren Salter. Yeah, that's because when it didn't work the first time, I think we pressed the button again and it didn't work the second time. So we realized something was majorly wrong. So each time we press the button, you will have got a new invite and a new password. Amy, you can use either, or does it have to be the latter?
That is absolutely my fault. Sorry. I pressed the upload twice. I would use the latest email, the password in the latest email, but you can also reset it because the system is expecting you're registered on the Inspire tour. So you can just reset your password if you want to, if they're not working.
Yeah, I'm afraid it's a bit like me this morning. I was trying to get something printed. Remember printers? Yeah, you know, those things. I still use one. And I kept pressing the button because nothing was happening and I was getting really frustrated. And in the end, I got my 4 sheets of paper printed 5 times. So that serves me right. So I think we did the same with trying to get Rogo up and running. Rogo is, by the way, is the platform that we use for all our examinations. And the examinations are going haywire at the moment. Such a lot of you are taking this time to take a few more exams. And we've just, of course, got the new proctored exam as well. So no need to go to a Pearson VUE Centre because they're all closed. And you can do this at home, but you are monitored through your screen and through your phone, which you put at the side of you, and you have an app open and it makes sure that nobody comes and gives you the answers and you don't disappear off somewhere. But we've had people sitting this all over end of last week, all over the weekend, and we've had some fantastic reports back saying it is great. And in fact, we've got a lot of people coming over now from a couple of other professional bodies where they can't do their exams at the moment because they're all locked down, and they're going to take ours instead. So, you know, we hope to hang on to them, obviously, as members, but some of them might go back to their normal course of study afterwards, but they just didn't want to lose that impetus, and they didn't want to be stalled. So I think some people are now talking about opening up exams from September. So that's 5 months away, something like that. You know, it's far too long to wait when you're all geared up and ready to go. So if you or anybody you know wants to take some of our exams, please get in touch through your training provider. Obviously, if you're with a training provider, if you haven't done anything with us for a while and you fancy doing, I don't know, payroll, self-assessment, tax, costing and budgeting, whatever it might be, just get in touch with us. You can link in and you can get that done straight away. Gillian Sly says, what passwords do you use? The ICB login or the one given in the email?
The one in the email should be right.
The one in the email
as well.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
If it doesn't work, you can reset it, and it is totally separate from your ICB website login.
Yeah, we're using a separate platform from this because we wanted it not to have any hiccups. So that just goes to show. I think we should have stood with what we knew. But anyway, Karen says, I was not aware that they would be recordings rather than live. Was this rearranged? No, Karen, it wasn't. We specifically said, I'm sorry if we haven't made it plain, but we wanted this to be different so that it was more in depth and the speakers made the presentations without then making question time available at the end. But we decided to put ICB TV at the end of each day so that any questions you had could be raised in this program. So that's why we're here now. I haven't seen many questions. I've got a couple of AML questions I'll get to in a second, but if you have got questions, please let me know.
I have an ethical question from Terry Pears.
Oh, an ethical question from Terry Pears.
Who says, should there be more than one question in the ethical quiz?
Actually, I've just had that one as well from...
she says, I answered it and he accepted it. Is this ethical?
Karen Bacon, should she said as well, and Terry Pears. Is it right that there's only one question?
I think there were supposed to be 4 questions. But if there's only one, there's nothing you can do about it. So I think that's ethical.
No, yeah, well.
You've been honest, so.
Being honest.
Right. Okay. We'll have a look at that and have a quick.
As I said before, the quizzes aren't to catch you out. It's just really so you can demonstrate that you watched the video.
Right. Okay.
Hope you, Terry, and your family are keeping well, by the way.
Yeah, Terry. Hope you're keeping well. Everything okay? Locked down and staying out of trouble, hopefully. And how many attempts do you have to answer the questions? And how many are there? So I'm going to reserve judgment on how many there are at the moment. And how many
If you really want to, you can keep doing the quiz again and again and again. All the quizzes for the different presentations will have different numbers of questions.
Yeah, so each one will be different. So that should be good. Sue Raisin said, I answered the one question and I look for more. Yes, I'm not sure it's unethical not to have more than one question, but I'd like to see a lot more than one question, to be honest with you. We're just checking on that. I think Amy's on the phone as we speak, trying to sort something out, but we'll have a look at that. I mean, you can't have an exam with one question. Never mind. Let's see how that goes. Yeah. Who's this? Hi, David. Do you know if that was a message from your browser? Who's David? I think that must be a question we've sent out. I don't know about that. From Facebook, we've got Janet Ricks. I have managed to watch the ethics presentation, which was very good, but then tried the test. Is it right? There's only one question on the test. There wasn't any next or continue button to click after question one. Yeah, we're checking on that one. It shouldn't only be one question. The presenter came up with a list of questions and we're going to check into that. But I'm glad you saw the ethics presentation. That was it was a new one to separate ethics out from everything else. And as I said before, it's the first time we've had the benefit of Mark Leon with us, because Mark is quite a renowned speaker. And I think because of lockdown, he probably had a little bit more time in his hands, so we were able to get him. So that is fantastic. And I'll let you know about those other things as and when we get an answer. So if I go back on that and see what else we've got here. Oh, right. So much it doesn't accept. Where are we? Right. I couldn't log in by clicking on the link in the email, says Carol, but got straight on with no buffering or problems by copying and pasting the link into my browser. So thank you for that, Carol. You obviously switched on there. That's Carol with a Y. So if you can get it in Devon, you should be able to get it anywhere. Nice to see you anyway, Carol. What else have we got here?
Just to say, I just got a call from the dev team that run the platform that the Inspire Tour is on. They have said that they're doing a fix. Basically, what they said is that the quality of our videos is too high, and they're going to use. They've got a fix which will enable better streaming. Basically, so apparently it was actually 1,500 requests for the first video when it went live. And apparently, wow, because it doesn't handle streaming in a totally optimized way, and it was putting a lot of pressure on the user's bandwidth. And then when it wasn't loading properly, everyone was refreshing. So it was sort of a combination of those things that was slowing it down. But we will have improved compression, apparently, for tomorrow. So hopefully any problems with streaming the videos will be a little bit better. And that's probably my fault.
And we've got a lovely
always
message
hitting
from
max quality of video, and so
right.
So hopefully that will help us. And if anyone's got any problem with the sort of the format of the video, that will also help with that. I understand that you still will be able to download it if you want to.
I've got a lovely comment here from Victor Brownlow. Victor is our regional representative on our advisory council from Northern Ireland. Hello, Victor. Lovely to hear from you. He's also the branch chair across in Northern Ireland. He says, being a victim of success is not always a bad thing, as in these strange times. Adapt and carry on is the best policy. Treat problems as new opportunities. Well, thank you, Victor. We've certainly had a lot of new opportunities this morning. But yeah, I hate to have to come on and apologise. Mrs. C, who's sitting next to me, says, I never apologise. But then in one breath, she says, I don't apologise. And in another, she said, I shouldn't apologise. I've never quite understood that. It's the old Venus and Mars syndrome, I think. But anyway, so thank you for that, everybody. Looked at more prior to getting going. Perhaps they should have explained this to you prior to getting going, says Rowena. Yeah, I think, yeah,
Well,
Okay,
we don't want.
we'll
Yeah,
take that. We'll take that. We can't.
I've
say
fallen
anything
on my
else.
sword, to be honest. I think it's mostly my fault.
It was not a holy mess on our side. I think we assumed a lot and trying to keep everything good. Right, what have we got here from Kevin Jarvis? Can you please do a very quick summary of AML tasks that should be done when taking on a new client? So, Kevin, you started it off here. You said meet. Yeah. Now, obviously, at the moment, you can't actually meet physically and shake hands and all the rest of it, see the colour of their eyes. But I would suggest that if you can have a Zoom meeting, I wouldn't like to progress unless I've actually seen the person in some format or another. But you know, we'll see how that goes. Get the ID. Yes, you need photographic ID. Now, obviously, again, if you're in a Zoom meeting, you can't get the passport. They're not going to want to put that in the post. They're not going to put their driving license in the post, obviously. What I would do is try and get them to hold up the passport at the side of their head so that you can see it and you can read it properly. Get them to send you a photograph of it so that you can compare what you're looking at on screen and what you've got on the photograph, and you look and see if they look anything like it. Now, speaking personally, I look nothing like the terrible looking prisoner type person that I've got on my passport, but I think other people would say it probably is me, so that's okay. Then when you've got that, you've got the copy of their passport as a photograph or a scan or whatever they can do. Keep that on file for the moment. But it's very, very important that when we get out of this lockdown, you get the real thing. You must see the original passport, not a copy. You must hold that physical passport in your hand and make sure that it's the right one. And then you can take a photocopy and then you can keep it, or you take a photograph of it and you can keep it on their file. So remember to do that. You then need, some form of utility bill or something to prove where they live. And they should be used to being asked for this sort of thing, whether they're opening a bank account or even opening a Skyrim. You know, you've got to have a bank address detail. For some reason, they always say you can't have a mobile telephone bill, but a proper domestic bill like council charge, council tax, something like that. Something that's pretty heavy, government department or something like that, then that will be fine. And then really the next thing to do is look at what sort of a risk you think the businesses of being involved in any form of money laundering. That's probably at the top end of the scale, but also any fraudulent activity. And we've had a couple of new businesses coming online with our members, and our members have been ringing up saying, this doesn't feel quite right. What do you think? And actually, I think in many cases, it didn't feel quite right. And what they were trying to do was get some of our members, by being ICB bookkeepers, to put things through, thereby HMRC and the taxman, whoever, thinking that, well, it's an ICB bookkeeper, so they must have done their due diligence. So it's very important you do this. And the risk is a difficult thing, I always think, to evaluate. But when you look at a business, you get a feel for it. Are they straightforward with you? Do you know what's going on? Have you worked out what the business is about? Now, I know that sounds strange if they're a plumber or a decorator or something or other, but how does the business work? Who's responsible? Who's running the business? Is it the person you're dealing with, or does somebody else behind the scenes own the business and pull all the strings? It's that sort of thing which you find out. Now, you might not see that immediately, which is why if you've got a new client, I would suggest you almost give them a high risk automatically, because you need to get to know them. And I think you're probably going to be 2 to 3 months into a business before you've sussed out exactly what they're about. Because don't forget, you can go into your AML at any stage and say, I've changed the risk on this. Now, if you're saying that somebody is high risk, it doesn't mean that you think they're as bent as a 9-bob. No, it doesn't mean that. It just means that at the moment, you haven't got sufficient information to make a proper, considered judgment. And it gives you a little bit of breathing time so that you can go back and think about it and do something about it later. But the main thing is that you've got to get a feel for the business. You've got to know your client, the old KYC. What are they about? Where's the money coming from? You know, we had one a couple of days ago about somebody that wanted one of our members to do a self-assessment tax return, and they only had an income of 11,000 or 12,000 or something like that, and then they wouldn't let our members see the bank records. Why? I mean, how could we make a judgment that that £11,000 that was going through the self-assessment tax return was all the money that was going into the banks? I mean, what else was in there that they would want to hide? Because if they're getting any more money into the account, it has to go on the tax return. You know, so there are all sorts of things like that. That sends up a flare. You know, whoa, something's not quite right here, and that's the important thing. If it feels not quite right, it probably isn't. You know, yeah. Somebody said if it smells funny, it's probably rotten. And I think that is the case. Now, you can get the wrong impression when you see somebody for the first time. You can think they're wonderful and they turn out not to be, but also vice versa. You can think, ooh, this is a bit dodgy. But, you know, rather make a rash decision, just get involved, get to know what's going on. As long as you've got your due diligence and you've got your risk assessment sort of sussed out, that's when you start. But very quickly, you need to work out whether this company is all it's made out to be or this person is all they're made up to be. And don't forget, Google is brilliant. You'll get all sorts of information about somebody on Google. You put somebody's name in, you find that they've got a LinkedIn account, they've got a Facebook account, they're in Instagram. They've sometimes, unfortunately, you know, they've been locked away for 10 years or something like that. So all these sorts of things you can get at by other means. And that's the important thing. And just look at it and make sure it's okay. If you've got a limited company, you can look at the directors of the limited company. That's now coming out through your AML online, so that will help. It'll tell you who else is a director on that company. But the other thing is hit on the people, hit on the person that you're dealing with. Because if you put their name into the company's house web check, it will tell you all of the other directorships that person has. And we had one of our members recently had a client where he was a sole director, but it then turned out he was a sole director on 4 other companies, all of which were actually trading with the company that our member had been asked to do the books on. So all of a sudden, oh, hold on a minute, how can you be trading with yourself and your entire turnover coming from your own companies? And the man had not mentioned that these were his own companies at the first meeting. So, you know, it's just being careful. You don't want to get tricked up. You do want to get it right. But as I always say at Inspire Tour, so I'll say it now, most people are pretty straightforward. They do things as close to the book as they can, or they know how, and you're there purely to make sure that they do continue to do it properly, and that's what they want. There will always be somebody that's trying to pull a fast one. We know that it's our job, but it's also our self-protection to try and figure out who that is. And then really, you just carry on with that business, build up a relationship with your client, but always remember that things can change. Make sure you are aware of changes, change of address, change of business. You know, they might suddenly decide they're selling something that they're importing from overseas. You know, do you know about it? Have they been straight with you? And really, you've got a big advantage over most accountants, because most accountants do an annual visit and they do the year-end accounts. You will see your clients far more often, and that's what you need to do. Just have a general chat. Have a nice, you know, how things going, what are you doing, anything new on the horizon, any nice big new customers, you know, that I need to build into your cash flow or something. And often they'll tell you things which will spur another thought, and that's what it's all about. Just make sure that, you know, they are business people at the end of the day. They do like to talk about their business, and that's it. But, you know, we know that lots of people who've been peddling drugs for years are suddenly finding they can't put money into the old accounts that they could before, because it would look suspicious because they've all been closed down because of COVID. So, you know, where's that money going to go? So again, I think you need to look at it and make sure you haven't got clients. They've got a lovely business, it's running, it's profitable, but it doesn't seem to have any products, or it doesn't seem to be doing anything. So just keep an eye out for that, please. Oh, Karen, did you get my email some time ago following the Devon meeting re-opbus? Yes, Karen, I did. the trouble is, it's quite a complicated letter. It's not really about one of your clients, obviously. It was a personal thing, if I remember rightly. I have asked somebody else to have a look at that, and I know they have in turn asked somebody else to have a look at it. So I will get back to you about that and just see what I can do. It's rather complicated, as these family matters tend to be, but we will. I'll see. I'll give everybody a quick reminder and just see what's going on. Where on the ICB website is the information about electronic ID, which has been mentioned on a number of occasions? Helen, it's part of the AML hub. Electronic ID, the government is saying now that you can start using electronic ID. As an institute at the moment, we are saying that you should use that as support information. You shouldn't use it as your only verification of who is who. It helps, but you need to get to know the person you're dealing with better than just getting an algorithm. But it should be okay. But we, to be honest with you, we don't have empirical evidence any way or the other, or anecdotal evidence even.
So Julia Banks. We can't find an email.
Julia Banks.
Julia we
Banks.
We have emailed Julia Banks twice from the Inspirator platform. Is that what you're looking for, June?
No, she said, I think she said she'd sent an email querying.
Yeah,
Oh.
Julia, I think you said you sent an email querying that we hadn't responded to. We can't find that at the moment, so I'm not sure what it was about, but do you think you can let us have a copy to customer services?
Send it to me.
Actually, no, send it to June. That's June, June, .Carter, CARTER, at bookkeepers.org.uk. June.Carter at bookkeepers.org.uk. Because we've got nothing on your file, and we've got nothing holding, and we've just done a complete search and we can't find it. I'm just wondering if, one letter slightly different on the email address or something, it might have gone the wrong way. I don't know. But anyway,
I think it was Kevin Jarvis who said he'd sent an email without replying. Not Julia Banks. I think Julia Banks wasn't getting her email about Inspire, unless I'm confused. I was just going to say, Heather Palmer, you should now have received your email about logging into the Inspire tool. We've just sent a registration email to Michelle, Jacqueline, Andrea, Patricia, Sandra, Judith, Heather, Corbin, Lindsay and Catherine, by the way, who are all people who have booked in since the whole thing started. So you've missed all the...
If you haven't booked in yet, you can still book in, because with them being recorded, I think we've had quite a few people book after the deadline because they say, oh, well, they'd missed the deadline or something. Or it doesn't really matter because it is recorded filming, so you can certainly get that. Wait a minute, what have we got here now?
I was just going to say, Kevin Jarvis had another question about the AML. He was just wondering whether we think it's a good idea to keep a document on thoughts about a client, i.e. they make X number of pounds, this is what might be considered.
Yeah. Anything that you can keep that is part of your thought pattern as to why you've made the decision to continue with the business, or to say that they're high risk, medium risk, or low risk, you should put that in the system and make sure you hang on to that, because you might be questioned. And if it looks as if you've made proper and serious consideration and deliberation, then that forms part of your reasoning and everything else. So do we accept you keep a Word document? Well, you can put it against their record on your AML online, or a Word document, or put it on to Google or wherever you want to put it, as long as you have access to it. The thing is, if somebody turns up one day from HMRC and says to you, why on earth did you put this person as a low risk? You have to say, well, that's because I did X, Y, and Z, and here is my documentation. HMRC, to be honest with you, love documentation. If you've got lots of documents and lots of links and lots of information, that will keep them going. And it's the way, I think it's the sort of people they have employed by HMRC. That's what they always want.
I was just going to go back quickly to Helen that asks about the ID, using electronic ID.
Yeah.
I've just had a little check on our website, and it looks a bit like there's a link to some more information about using electronic ID, but it doesn't link anywhere. So I'm going to hunt that down and find it, and then we'll post that up on the website and put it on ICB TV as well tomorrow.
Yeah, that came in the new directive number 5, which came out and came into being at the beginning of this year. So it's relatively new. As I say, that there are a lot of organisations about all claiming to be very clever, and they'll charge you £100 a month or something or other. Don't do that. Just do it the old-fashioned way at the moment, which is getting copies of passports, etc. It's much better. We are looking at upgrading AML on a constant basis, so if it's one of the things that we need to build into AML Online, we might well consider it. I don't think it's planned at the moment, because we don't see it as an option that we'd like many of you to take up. We'd like you to be more hands-on. I think a lot of this has come about because of the big accounting firms that some of them don't even see their clients, or at least 99% of their staff don't. Well, you do, and we'd like you to keep on with that, please. Is the AML Online form available to members without a practice license? The AML information is, because you need to know about it as a bookkeeper, but not the AML Online. That's an actual piece of software which members in practice can use, and they input the information about their clients, and then it gives them a risk rating. So that's so that they can do their job properly as practicing bookkeepers. However, if you are an employed bookkeeper and you're working for, I don't know, a manufacturing company or whatever it is, and you are their head bookkeeper or their accountant or whatever it might be, you still need to know about money laundering regulations, because you need to make sure that you don't get involved in any form of money laundering, which obviously we presume you won't, but you would need to know it, so you can certainly read that. I mean, if you want to drop an email to compliance@bookkeepers.org.uk. Sorry, I'm told no. Professional standards at bookkeepers.org.uk. If you've got a slightly wider reason or broader reason for wanting that or needing it, then we will look at that. But the general principle is at the moment that as part of your practice license, obviously you pay an extra fee for your practice license, and you get this wonderful piece of software, which I think most organisations charge a practice license, and if you want one of their online bits, you pay an extra £100 to £200 a year. Or we had heard recently somebody was paying £120 a year for something. So, sorry, £120 a month. So it's just under £1,500 a year for it. But we bring that in as part of the fee, because we're good like that. Actually, it's because we wanted to help you all get it right, so that you protect your reputation and you protect ours at the same time, because we're all in this together, folks. So I think that's okay. So let's just, I'm sorry to keep reaching across the screen here, but there apparently isn't a better way of doing this. But anyway, let's close that up and let's have a look. Anybody on the chat line? Oh, professional.standards@bookkeepers.org.uk. I stand corrected, right. It's professional.standards@bookkeepers.org.uk. Yeah, I'm just the president. I don't know these things. I'm sorry, they do keep moving them around a bit. But anyway, so internet bricks, that's great. So if I can get rid of that. And what time are we? Oh gosh, 10 to 4 already. Wow, doesn't time go fast? I don't know if anybody else has. Oh, more questions coming in. Right, so I just realised actually, because I scrolled down and missed the end of Kevin's thing here. Obviously, you've got the AML risk assessment, etc. Know your client. We've got to have an ongoing review. You are required to have an ongoing review of your client. It's just, as a bookkeeper, you'll meet your clients on a regular basis. So anything that you see that is different, or you feel is different, or you have any reason to think something is changing, you put that onto your AML Online. You continually update that. But as a minimum of at least annually, you should review everybody's record. Now, that will be an extra prompter for you to make sure that they haven't sort of suddenly jumped from a small house to a big house, but their business isn't doing very well, and in which case, where's the money coming from, and all this sort of thing. Now, you can't automatically be over suspicious about people, because a man's just moved from a 2-bedroom terraced house to a 5-bedroom house by the sea, but his business is just not, it's doing okay. Doron, you think to yourself, well, where's all this extra money coming from? He could have won the lottery. He could have had an old aunt that left him some money in her will. His parents could have given him some money. It could be his wife's family's coming to money, or her husband's family coming to money. But you have an obligation to find out, because you are there to make sure that your clients aren't fiddling the books, not paying enough tax, or hiding stuff. And I always say that we have very, very few clients that go wrong. But when they do, we like to make sure that we know about it. And I think last year, as a group, our members put in something in the region of about 25 or 26 suspicious activity reports. Now, when you think we've got over 100,000 clients out there between you, that doesn't sound like a very high number. And it doesn't. But some of those can be multi-million-pound fiddles, and we need to make sure that we're aware of it and be very careful. What else do I run through, please? Just a nice general run through, please. Thanks for putting Inspire Talk online, even with the hiccups. I appreciate this opportunity to attend, as I've never been able to attend previous events due to my disability. Liz. Hi, Liz. It is something that we're finding that a lot of people are telling us that they're able to get to us for the first time because this is far more accessible. And it is absolutely something we're looking at now, that perhaps even if we do go back to hotel-based seminars, as we've done in the past, because it is nice to meet people, we will look at whether or not actually we can record the session so that people can then link into it afterwards. I'm not sure what your disability is, and obviously I don't necessarily want to just discuss that now, but what I'm thinking is, if there is anything that we can do to help you get to one of these so that you can actually meet some of your fellow bookkeepers, please let us know and we'll see what we can do. We do have a lot of disabled members who do manage to get to our branch seminars and also to our Inspire tours. But obviously it depends on the level of your disability. But certainly people in chairs, wheelchairs, etc. We normally, we always pick a hotel that has got accessibility in that way, and toilet facilities, etc., etc. So please let us know what you want. And we have two of our long-standing members, actually, the Kingdons from they're down in Devon, aren't they? Dave and Alison Kingdon from where did we see them? Torquay. It was at Torquay, wasn't it? That was right. And they're a brilliant couple. They're very supportive of ICB, and they do come along to a lot of things. And they're both in chairs, and yeah, it's great. Now, Karen Bacon, initial hiccups, but very useful and much appreciated. Thanks, ICB. Well, we really do our best. It's obviously just wasn't quite up to scratch this morning. So knuckles have been wrapped and various other things, but yeah. How can you verify premises if you can't visit, Andy? It depends what type of premises there are. Obviously, you can use Google Earth. You can have a look what they look like. You can have a look at a person's website to see if they carry any shots inside. It is difficult. You just need to go to reasonable lengths to make sure that you've checked it out. If everything else stacks up, then carry on. And eventually, when this all breaks and we're out in the real world again, then the first thing you should do really is go along and just make sure it looks okay. Also, Google the address. Make sure it's not a multi-occupant building or something like that, because that can be different, or find out that it's actually a totally different business. But there will normally be things about every single address on Google on a search that you can find out. So just do the best you can. Nobody can ask any more. But if you don't do it, I don't think COVID will be an excuse that is accepted. If you've tried your best, then it will be. And you know, we'll stick up for you if you've done that, certainly. ICB would like to ask you a liar. That's great, Liz. Smiley face. Says Sue Bruland. I'm not quite sure how that works. Is somebody answering these as well? Anyway, how does fiddling the books compare with money laundering? What should be reported where, says Karen. Right, well, money laundering is normally where somebody is carrying out a crime and then trying to put the money through the books of a business to make it look legitimate, so that the business then takes the money through, puts it into the bank, it all washes through and it all looks easily done. Fiddling the books is normally where somebody is claiming something that they shouldn't. And we've got a few clients that have tried to put their entire family and friends onto their wage book over the last couple of months so they can all get furloughed and they can all earn £2,500 a month out of this. And we've had to put a stop to that. It can also be that somebody is overstating the amount of money they're spending on the business. You know, they've got false invoices, false taxi receipts, whatever it might be. Or quite often, excuse me, we've come across companies where they have invoice discounting, for example, and they've said to our bookkeepers, look, I need some more money. I'm going to put some extra invoices through. We're going to cancel them immediately, but put them through so that I can get 80% of their face value because I need money for the cash flow. They are stupid enough sometimes to ask our bookkeepers. Other times they try and do it and hope the bookkeeper misses it. And touch wood, so far we've not come across one of our bookkeepers missing it, but they will try. They'll also try and hold back a few invoices so the VAT returns look better. All sorts of things like that. That's fiddling the books. Now, as far as money laundering is concerned, a suspicious activity report goes in, and you then, come and have a chat with us at the Institute and talk to us online by all means, but we will talk to you about, should you continue with that business? Do you need to continue for a certain while so that you can walk away without creating suspicion that you are the person that has suddenly caused the police to turn up one morning? So that can be done. If it's a fraud, then there is a very odd email address that you use, which is report an unlicensed trader.gov.gsi.uk. Actually, it's .gsi.gov.uk. It's odd, but you should still put in a suspicious activity report, because you will see that a lot of cases come to court, and sometimes what appears like money laundering goes through as proceeds of crime or whatever it might be. Police will go for the criminal conviction based on whatever they think is the one that they can achieve. So if they can't prove that they've spent the money on anything or what have you, they'll put it down as a fraud or obtaining money by deception or whatever it might be. So if you cover all angles, but the best thing to do is give us a call, and you can be put through to either to Steve Hardwick, who is our Director of Anti-Money Laundering, or one of our inspectors. Now, they're all formerly with the police. They were all part of the financial intelligence units and fraud units and various other things. They've all been pretty clever people within the police, which is why they've got them, and they're there to help you. So that's the whole point. They are police. They're there, ex-police, but they're there to help you. So if you give them the full information, they will use that information to advise you in the best way that you can move forward. Put everything out to them. Tell them everything you know. Don't keep anything back, because the other thing about a policeman is that they always know when something doesn't feel quite right. So make sure that you cover that. So I think that was Karen. So that I hope that's answered that. We had a case many years ago when I think we were probably only a couple of years old as an institute, new into the practice licenses, where one of our members was brought in by an accountant to look after a brand new client who had a sunbed parlour, and so she went and did some extra due diligence because everybody at the accounting firm said it was all okay, and she found a dingy little shop with admittedly one sunbed, but this company had a turnover of in excess of 2.5 million. And she felt it wasn't right, so she put in a suspicious activity report. And true enough, every crook in the district, as soon as they had any money, they put it through the books of the sunbed parlour, and then everybody made loads of money. They paid their tax, they paid their VAT. Well, of course they did. But the 60% or whatever was left was then doled out to all the crooks again, and that was clean money. So nobody could trace the money. It was all cleaned up, and that is pure money laundering. And obviously, people who sell drugs made an absolute fortune. They've got to do something with the money, because nowadays they can't walk into a shop and buy too much in cash. They can't go and buy a new Ferrari in cash anymore. They're not allowed to go and buy a £10 million house in cash. Well, unless they're from Russia, but that's another story altogether. So, you know, everybody's trying to stop them doing this. So we've just got to be careful that we're part of that. If a reliable personal contact was to make me aware of some fiddling of the books by a company which I have no personal or business dealings with, would I have an obligation to report it, even though I had no evidence? If so, to whom would I report it? That you would report to us via our, what's it?
Whistleblowing.
Yeah, we've got a whistleblowing line. Now, I can't remember the number, because I've not been using this number for a while, but you'll find it on the website. There's also an email address. You let us know about this, because as a professional, you are supposed to be aware of everything that's going on around you. Even if it's not specifically your responsibility, you can't look the other way. I mean, it's very unlikely anybody will know that you were aware of things, but to be honest with you, morally, I think you certainly ought to be doing your bit for the country. And let's face it, the country needs as much money as it can get. When we come out of this, somebody somewhere is going to have a huge hole in their bank account. So we haven't heard what the country's going to do to get it all filled back in again yet, but I think we're all going to have to work twice as hard and get taxed twice as much, I would think. But so therefore, we don't want people getting away with it. If we're paying our tax, then everybody else should be as well. And June is busy looking for the telephone number. Not at the moment. We'll try and see if we can get hold of Steve on the line and see if he's got the number or anything else. It should be up
Sorry, are you looking for the whistleblowing?
Yeah.
It's on our contact us page on our website. It is 0203 405 7581.
Right. Could you just repeat that again, whistleblower line?
I'll repeat it and I'll pop it in the chat. 0203 405 7581.
As I've said before, when we decided to close down our office, we've moved all of ICB staff out to their homes. Nobody's been laid off. Nobody is being furloughed. We're all working away there as if it was a normal office day. We were very fortunate a few years back to invest some money in an online telephone system. So we've literally unplugged our phones, gone home, plugged them into our routers, and we're all working on our phones. We've all got our screens with us. We've all got our database with us. It's all extremely secure, so nobody can download anything or anything like that. It's all secure back to hell to our main server, which is goodness only knows where. But it does mean that our service is exactly as it was before. So any of you that have telephoned us will know we answer the phone in the normal way. You can be put through to somebody else. You can be put through to the helplines or whatever you want. You can do all of that. And as you heard before, you can do your exams. You can buy textbooks. Textbooks are selling like hotcakes at the moment. Everybody wanting to catch up on a bit of study. And seriously thinking, if you haven't yet taken your payroll or your self-assessment tax qualification, now's a good time to do it. And if you're suddenly deciding actually you want to aim for fellowship, have a look at our level 4. Some good papers on there which you can do cumulatively. It's not all in one go. You can just do a couple at a time, one at a time, come back to it in another 12 months, whatever you need to do. Just add them all up, and then once you've been a member for 2 years, you can apply to become a fellow, FICB. It's all very good.
I was just going to say that textbooks are actually sent on Tuesday mornings. So if you're desperate and don't want to wait an extra week, get your order in by 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. They're just in the shop. And they're sent by DP. Am I making this up? I believe they're sent by DPD. And at the moment, some people are saying they get theirs next day, like on a Wednesday, and some people are having more delays. So I would just allow some extra time.
Yeah, I've heard that people are getting them the following day. I haven't heard much about delays, but there are a lot of people who share this on social media saying, look what I've got. And they take a picture of their wonderful textbook. Yeah, our members love textbooks and they love stuff that's written down. But yeah, that's fantastic. And there are textbooks for everything we do, basically. So have a look, see what you think. I think probably we need to think about disappearing, do we not? What time? What have we got on there on the chat?
Yeah, it's 10 past.
Yeah. Oh, you put the whistleblowing home line on there. That is brilliant. So thank you for that. What time is it? Yeah, it's 4:10. Well, again, guys, thank you very, very much for joining us today. We are going to be doing ICB TV tomorrow and Wednesday. So tomorrow, Thursday. Tomorrow is Wednesday. Yeah, I'm sure your calendars as messed up as mine is. And then we'll be back on Friday with Thank Furlough. It's Friday when we'll be getting an update. Jackie's got a few updates for us already, so she's holding those all together, ready to let loose on you all on Friday. And we will see. So tomorrow, it's the seminars for tomorrow, which you might even be able to have early today. But what are they about tomorrow? Just remind us, Amy.
I will send an email to everyone who's booked in for the Inspire Tour as soon as the rest of the videos are ready. I'm anticipating that all of them will be there for tomorrow morning. So initially scheduled for tomorrow is Peter Stewart talking about cash flow for SMEs. So he's our Director of Learning. He's great and Scottish. And then we also have Claire Warner, who is our payroll expert. She's been on ICB TV, but she's actually doing a bit of an update, just a 2020 update on payroll to just cover all of the things you probably do know, but maybe have been kind of sidetracked on. She'll obviously be doing that within the context of COVID-19, but it's mostly just a sort of payroll essentials, just to make sure you've got everything at the top of mind. We will definitely be trying to get Peter Stewart onto ICB TV tomorrow to answer any FAQs. At the moment, I don't think Claire Warner is available, but we're sort of begging her. But she'll be back on ICB TV in no time. And then the Thursday content, which should also be available tomorrow, so you can watch everything whenever you like, is Paula VC-Smith and Claire Mannell, both ICB members, talking about practical things you can do in your practice. And we'll have at least Paula VC-Smith on Thursday on ICB TV to answer any questions you have. Hopefully we'll get Claire as well. And we'll also be joined on Thursday by our sponsors, Auto Entry, because they are giving all of our members a discount as well. And they have got a video on the Inspire Tour as well. So there's a sort of protracted kind of session about automation and how you can use Auto Entry to save time in your practice. So you can watch that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it before, but Auto Entry have really come up to the patch with us this time again. They've been with us for a couple of years now on the Inspire tours when we've been out actually visiting people and seeing you in all those hotels. And I'm sorry, I'm not sure about your lunch, but mine today was a bit of a short snack. It wasn't anywhere near as good as an ICB Inspire lunch because we have some really good food on Inspire. But anyway, so we've done what we can. I think we've had a few hiccups today. That's the best way of putting it, I think. Again, sorry to those of you who we've messed around a little bit, but yeah, we are here. We are looking at what to do with our conference in November. We really don't know. We're booked up to go, but we're not taking any money for tickets yet, just in case we're told that we've got to socially distance until the end of the year or something or other, because you can't really run a conference like ours with your socially distance. That's not really what it's about, I don't think. Most of you spend as much time talking to each other as you do watching the presentations. So, you know, it's a whole new ball game. So we're going to wait and see. But if not, we might have to do something like this, learn from our mistakes of this morning and make sure we've got proper bandwidth and everything else. Because, you know, we should have calculated that you'd all want to come on and off several times within the first hour instead of presuming you were going to form an orderly queue. But that's experience. We put it down to that. And Great. Well, I thank Missy C, who's sitting here next to me, who still busy typing away and answering some of your calls. She's been here as my prompt, as well as my mentor. Yes, so she's laughing at that. Yeah, definitely my mentor. Thank you to Amy. And
My pleasure.
I hope tomorrow, well, the rest of today and tomorrow goes better with the Inspire Tour. I hope, as always, you are inspired, and we will be sending out a questionnaire asking what you thought of it. So, yeah, be gentle, and we will, me and my buddies, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.